Hey there, folks. Dr. Rick Marks here with Relate Well Institute. Another Dr. Rick in a Relate Well moment. Sorry about that. I got distracted. I've got this new microphone stand here, and not sure how to make it work, but I'm hoping that you can hear it okay and that it's giving you good sound. I needed my other micro stand phone broke. All right, so today we're going to talk about something simple. The fact that whenever we make choices, we make choices. We make good choices, we make bad choices, right? However, our choices become the consequences for other people. Our choices become other people's consequences. The question is, do we care? You know, Genesis 2:17 says basically this, because we will reap what we sow, right? But you must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. For when you eat of it, you will surely die. That's sowing and reaping, all right? Job 4, verse 8, he says, I have observed those who plow evil and those who sow trouble, they reap it. And there it is, the sowing and reaping. Galatians 6:7, do not deceive, God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows. All right. Then the personal development field is called the law of attraction. Angry people attract anger to them. All right. Romans 6:23 is very clear about sowing and reaping. For the wages of sin is death. But I want to talk about a different aspect of all of this. It's the fact that whenever we make choices, our choices become somebody else's consequences. The question is, do you care or not? It kind of links back to Newton's third law of motion. I wrote here, Newton's third law of motion states that, quote, for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction, close quote. What this means is that when one object, all right, exerts a force on another object, that second object exerts a force back on the first that is equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. So when this is moving this way, this pushes back. Essentially, forces always occur in pairs between interacting objects. In other words, what you do isn't one way. When you push, you're gonna get pushed back. When you yell and scream, someone else is taking the consequences of your yelling and screaming. When you're selfish, manipulative, someone else is taking the consequences for that. And because they take the consequences for your choices, there's going to be a reaction back. Question is, do you care? Do you care that your choices become other people's consequences? Sadly, I've found that for the most part, people don't care. That's why they get defensive. All right. That's why they get defensive. So Newton's third law can be applied here. I wrote here, the choices that we make, our choices that we make, whether healthy or unhealthy, responsible or irresponsible, whether caring or uncaring, whether life-giving or destructive, becomes other people's consequences. I further wrote, listen, your choices, my choices, become the consequences that others must deal with. And most of the time, these people never wanted to have those consequences in their life. They weren't looking for those things to happen to them. Our irresponsibility, folks, becomes someone else's responsibility. If you're irresponsible in this area, someone else has got to pick up the slack. Others are now put in a place to take responsibility for the consequences of our lack of character, our lack of integrity, or an uncaring and selfish spirit. So think about it. If we sow discord, we reap discord. In the personal development field, this is actually called the law of attraction. We actually attract to us the very things that we are. Thus, anger attracts anger, dysfunction attracts dysfunction, fear attracts fear, resentment attracts resentment. What you are sowing, you're going to get back. So think about this for a minute. How do you want to be in your choices that you make? If they're positive, consequences are positive. If they're negative, there's negative consequences. And everything you do, as my mentor always said, you're a source of pain or a source of pleasure by every choice and decision that you make, because they have actions. You see, what I want to focus on then is not so much the reality that our choices become other people consequences, it's really to ask you this question. Does it bother you that when you make negative choices, those choices have consequences on other people that are hurtful, painful? Does it bother you? Does it matter to you? Does it matter that your drinking problems causes pain to others? Does it bother you that your unwillingness to live in humility to your usness, that you want to live for you, that it kills your marriage slowly and causes your spouse to shut down and distance emotionally? Does it matter to you that your immaturity hurts your family and possibly even peers at work? I've always said that I find it very disingenuous that when you treat people in unhealthy ways, when you devalue people, when you create harm, and then you get a negative reaction back, they walk out of your life, and then you're bothered by it. I go, why would you be bothered by those things? The very thing that you're sowing is what you're reaping. Because when we get defensive about it or bothered by it, we're really sending this message to the people that we hurt. I don't care that hurt you. I don't care that hurt you. Suck it up. Get over it. It wasn't my intention. And all you're doing is convincing them that you don't care and that they should never trust you with their heart. Because what's going to end up happening is those people will shut their hearts down with you and wall you off, and you'll live in a relationship that ultimately becomes cold and distant. You decide the choices you want to make day by day. But just remember, the choices you make do become somebody else's consequences, be it positive or negative. The irresponsible decisions you make forces someone else to be responsible for your irresponsibility. Nothing happens in a vacuum. Everything has a ripple effect. It's Dr. Rick with Relate Well Institute. Have a great day, folks.